Talking About Marketing is a podcast for business owners and leaders, produced by Steve Davis and David Olney of Talked About Marketing. More than 8,000 conversations have taught them something. You can't read the label from inside the bottle. Everyone needs external perspective. Through their 4 Ps: person, principles, problems, and perspicacity. Yes, you heard that correctly. They explore marketing with curiosity, generosity, and the occasional gentle eye roll. They hope this becomes a trusted companion on your journey in business.
David?
Yes.
Do you think our communication as humans would be better walking around a supermarket or driving a car if we had 5 little handheld signals that had the thumbs up, the angry face, the sad face, the wow face, and we just held them up as to show the other person our reaction in real time, face to face?
This is my ultimate nightmare as a blind person, living in a world of mimes where I can't interact with whatever weird things all the other humans are doing.
Between sighted people, what impact do you think it would have?
Oh, nuance would go out the window. Any ability to really genuinely understand someone else. And it's completely lacking the why of being a human. Why do people do anything?
Oh, you can't see it. I'm holding up the wow face.
I thought I would have got a like for that.
Our 4 Ps. Number 1, person. These are insights for the whole person, not just the business operator. Oscar Wilde put it this way: the aim of life is self-development, to realize one's nature perfectly. That's what each of us is here for.
In the person segment for this final episode of Season 8, David, we've both read Angertainment by Ed Koper. He's a man known to some people behind the Get Up movement, but he's also been an agitator in different political parties and social movements, well, for a long time now. I really love this book because it seemed to, for me, shine a light and a bit of apply some diagnostics to why social media is so incredibly toxic.
Yeah, it's really the most recent in a series of books by very capable people. People like Jonathan Haidt with The Righteous Mind and Nicholas Carr with The Glass Cage were looking at the impact of social media sort of 2014, 2015 and hinting where it was going and how it would be used and the impact it was already having. But Ed has done a wonderful job of going, this is now where we are and this is how it works every day. The system, the machine of social media and its uses rolls along in a highly predictable way, which means we can understand it and we can choose to not use it in the way that it is being misused.
So I thought what we do is, this segment is about us surviving as humans in the world. In the next segment, we'll look at how this applies to business. But to have headspace to stay positive in business is to understand what the heck is happening to our news feeds in any of the social platforms. And really, at its heart, I think my summary of what Ed is trying to achieve is the ability for us to see a post come before us, not go to our tribal prehistoric brain and go, ooh, and pile on and get angry, but go, aha, I know what this is. I know what flavour of Angertainment this is. And so the core formula that Ed identifies is that with a lot of posts these days, you've got emotion plus attention, and that's what being brought together, and that shows the intention of what the person behind the post is trying to achieve. And David, there are about 8 different types of posts we see. Let's just quickly waltz through those because your eyes might prick up as you hear us talk about this the next time you're online. just remember, most stuff that is, if you feel your temperature rising, it's probably being done for a reason, and it's probably not real. And it's time to take a deep breath, reflect. And if you've read this book, especially having the last chapter around, you can start to decode what's happening. And I liken it, David, to The Emperor's New Clothes, where, if you remember that fairy tale, everyone just said yes to the emperor all the time with his fashion, until one day he was walking around nude and all his yes people were saying, oh, these are wonderful, until a little kid says, why has the emperor got no clothes on? That is what Ed Koper's book brings to the table, I think.
Yeah, because for so long we've just been going, oh, social media is, and we just have to live with it. No, we don't. We can actually choose not to live with it as it is. Yeah. We can choose to call it out, and we can call it out in the kind way like the child does in the parable.
Yeah, which is just asking a question. So the first type is righteous anger activation. So this is where you'll see a post and there's heavy use of moral language. An example might be, if you're silent right now, you're complicit. So this post isn't really trying to inform you, it's trying to recruit you to come on board, to guilt trip you basically into it, David.
And again, this very much aligns with Jonathan Haidt's work, that you can have two people with different views, both trying to make a moral argument at each other. And in doing so, they miss the point that they probably have a fair amount of stuff in common and could have a reasonable conversation if they didn't immediately jump to moral combat. So see the moral combat early and go, I don't want to be in moral combat with you. I want to know what the issue is without the incendiary aspect.
Yeah. The next one, number 2, is tribal identity framing. This is where the post deliberately tries to set up an us and them, which triggers all that prehistoric stuff, David, the out person being a threat to the tribe, etc. It's basically trying to signal, are you part of our tribe or not? It's not really trying to share information. It's trying to get you branded. An example that I was playing with, there was a Gina Reinhardt, an Albanese meme, and it's got, why are you worrying about how she spends her money? You should be worrying about how he spends yours. The interesting thing is, when you reflect on that from an Angertainment perspective, you go, well, actually, Gina got her money from inheriting the royalties from ripping resources out of Australia's earth. And so her money is actually our money, when you think about it, for which she's not been paying that huge amount of tax that happens elsewhere around the world. And so the same people who in another breath would be saying tax the gas companies could well be saying, let Gina do what she wants, without seeing the nuance here. But this post doesn't want you to see that. It wants to say, are you in Gina's tribe or are you in Labor's tribe? There's no third option.
Yeah, let's remove the argument and make it a personality contest.
Another one is false consistency shaming. So it presents a complex situation as a simple, obvious contradiction, implying that the other side is too stupid or dishonest to see it. For example, it's picked a few quotes. I've asked in my research, I got Claude to get some examples for each of these. It's got South Australia, where some people oppose cutting down one tree even when it's being replaced 3 to 1. At least consistency isn't getting in the way. Now that post misses so much complexity in this issue. There's the heritage, our natural heritage being ripped up. There's lack of transparency over what the heck is in the contracts behind this development going on around our parklands, and whether there are backroom deals being done. And it's being collapsed into a potential gotcha moment here by ignoring most of the substance.
Again, standard rules apply. If something's been oversimplified, that means someone's trying to get something over you.
Yes. Decontextualized rage bait is number 4. So typically there's a single short quote, a short video clip. It's stripped of all context. And if you knew the context, it would lose its power instantly. The sort of things you see a 10-second video clip of a politician saying something that sounds outrageous. The 30 seconds before and after will completely change the meaning, and those seconds aren't shown. That's a classic one.
Yeah, and again, in an era of chopping video up into little pieces, decontextualization is becoming normal, and it's actually the model that TikTok works on, that YouTube Shorts work on. So we've actively got platforms trying to normalize, decontextualization and context switching at such a level that we really don't know where we are or what we're watching anymore.
Yeah. And by the way, we were putting these in the show notes if you want a little reference to come back to. Number 5 is the cancel mob mechanics. It's basically a call to pile on, to collectively punish an individual, an organization, or a brand. So, for example, there's a story in the book. It's a tragic story from a marketing perspective. Bud Light sent one can to one influence who happened to be a trans person. When they shared that, the world went nuts. Congressional investigations, country music stars purging their fridges, millions lost in sales. And this is the trigger that's just ready to be pulled on either side of the political aisle. You agree, David?
Again, we're really back to Jonathan Haidt here in The Righteous Mind, that you really can't understand the consequences of a simple action if you don't understand the moral lens through which someone will receive it.
So what was just one little can to one influencer at one end is a moral threat at the other
to someone
end.
else. Yeah. And unless you've got that ability to extend not just to seeing the physical or the practical context, but also the moral context of other people, things can be incendiary without intention. But it's simply because of lack of awareness.
So there's two things. There's ineptitude on the behalf of the brand there and not thinking that through. But then there's also the fact that we have this social media framework now, this network, that is like Tinder.
Yeah.
You just strike one match and it's up.
Off it all goes.
Yeah. Number 6, merchants of outrage. Often manufactured outrage or coordinated. It looks like grassroots, but it's funded, it's coordinated, it's manufactured with an ulterior motive. Things like, Charlie Kirk's organisation has been involved in things over time. They attack people for anti-climate, anti-woke, etc. But it's just stirring up discontent for the sake of it, David.
It's that thing of, where is the how to make it better?
Yes.
If there isn't a how to make it better, why did they make a video?
And we need solutions. We kind of know the problems. Number 7, I love this term, propagandatainer. See, I love Angertainment because it's anger and it's entertainment. Propagandatainment. So this is a creator's primary business model is your anger. They need a constant, fresh supply of targets to keep the dopamine running in their listeners. Their job is to keep you angry all the time. That's also why I left journalism too, because I was on air when 9/11 happened, and our job for the next week was to find every story we could that links something in Adelaide to 9/11. And that's when I said, this is no longer journalism.
No, if that's the legitimate use of all those resources, rather than explaining it and calming the farm, something's gone sideways.
Yeah. Number 8, the last one here, distraction, the look over here. So, a flashy, emotionally engaging controversy designed to crowd out scrutiny of something that's more important. So, for an example, when you have, let's just be hypothetical here, David. Imagine you've got a government that's facing questions about opaque development deals, right? They come out and they announce a major sporting event. The sports story is real and exciting. The timing, though, not accidental. It's look over here while they hope the real issue disappears.
Again, flood the zone has worked very, very well for the orange one, and it can work for lots of other people too.
Yeah. So that is just a first run through. The reason we've got this in the person segment is as we go about, it's hard to ignore social media. We've been so addicted and trained into it. It takes real effort not to be there. But if we're going to be there, this is how, like a scuba diver with a nice long pipe with fresh oxygen, we can keep breathing when we're swimming among the sharks.
Our 4 Ps. Number 2, principles. These are ideas worth building on. As Oscar Wilde reminded us, you can never be overdressed or overeducated.
In the principles segment, David, let's continue thinking about this book by Ed Koper called Angertainment. Where does the rubber hit the road in business? What principles can we look at? Because we've got this fabric of society being ripped and shredded and pulled and teared. Somehow, we have to go with a Facebook post or an Instagram post or a TikTok post or a LinkedIn post or something and say, hi, everyone. If you're dealing with this issue, I'm really here to help you, and I want to help make this better, while the crowd is fuming and stamping on the ground and angry and ready to attack anything that moves.
Yeah, it's one of those things we get told that all publicity is good publicity. And I think in a pre-social media world, that was maybe true then. But in a world where there's a new message every millisecond, and most of them are dead within 5 minutes, it's not true anymore that all media is good media. Now it really is a case of you're talking to people you can help. You can maybe talk to them directly if you've done your research properly. You can maybe point in the right direction and shine a big enough light to be noticed. But don't ever forget you're talking to a hero who needs a guide to solve a problem, to achieve something they value, that they're struggling with. And as a business owner, if you engage in social media in any way beyond that and you start being seen as part of one tribe or the other, the tribe doesn't care about you or your business. The tribe cares about you're just one more voice going with the emotional extremes. Go there at your peril.
So are you saying stick to your knitting?
I'm saying stick to the thing you do well. Stick to putting photos up of great work. Stick to telling the stories of the people who love what you do. Stick to telling the stories about the cool new thing you worked out you can just help people with, and accept that you're not going to get heaps of likes. You're not going to get heaps of imprints. That at the end of the day, as long as the people who do engage with it then call and in an enthusiastic way talk to you about how you could help them, what more do you need and want as a business person? Don't confuse your need as a human to belong in a tribe and to have social recognition with your need as a business person to make sure you're putting a clear message out for people for whom you're relevant and important.
What happens when the pitchforks are at your gate? You somehow someone's twisted something you've said and everyone's now angry at you innocently.
That's going to happen in a world where the rage just is swirling around looking for targets. We're kind of into Jill Bolte Taylor's world here of any emotion can be got past if you just take 90 seconds of calm. So before you reply to that mob and say you're being misunderstood or whatever else, decide, is that mob willing to listen, or does that mob just want to keep being angry? And if they want to keep being angry, is the best thing you could do just not post for 2 days and then stay out of whatever thing dragged you down the rabbit hole?
Because it seems to be a short memory for a lot of this.
Massively. Because people always need the next dopamine hit. They always need the next outrage. And if you went there deliberately, well, that's a dangerous and a dumb thing to do. If you got there accidentally, if you did it accidentally, it means you can disappear deliberately.
And that's the other principle to finish off this segment that I abide by. Every now and then I break my rule and I regret it. I do not engage in any substantive, political, thoughtful discussion in any social media channel because it lacks all the nuance of facial expressions and depth, the ability to sit with special time with someone, maybe drink some wine, talk things through. It lends itself to drive-by, cheap shots. Nobody wins. So that's my principle, David. I don't know if you concur with that or not.
Oh, absolutely. And I would add to it, never forget it's called social media but you are using a digital set of tools for business. So use the digital set of tools for business, not for what everyone else is using them for.
Yeah.
Don't confuse your need to interact with people with a need to interact within the kind of swirling mess that social media has become.
Yeah, and especially on LinkedIn, but also everywhere, I see so many people weigh in with the most ridiculously toxic comments and then are surprised when people look up their business and go, well, here's a business I'm going to boycott, or I'll talk to your manager now, because you're out there and this is marketing, positioning, branding 101. You are your brand and you're representing your company, whether it's your solo business or an organization, every time you open your mouth.
Yeah, you're not anonymous. Even though the other person isn't there in the room with you, you're not anonymous.
Plus, you might be arguing against a Russian bot whose job is just to keep you being angry.
To keep you busy and to pull in the people who don't realise you're arguing with a Russian bot.
There we are. It's a great little read, very helpful. Angertainment by Ed Koper.
Be entertained, not angry.
Our 4 Ps. Number 3, problems. These are the marketing challenges keeping you up at night. As Oscar said, we ask questions for the best reason possible. Simple curiosity, no hidden agenda, just genuine interest in what's actually happening.
In the problem segment, I'm going to make this short, David. I don't think I'll share the URL of this company, but we had an 18th birthday here just recently, and the next day, its floor was a bit sticky, needed a bit of a clean, and Nadia said, I think we need to get the couches cleaned as well. So we had a little look, and I was shocked at your typical horrid, tradie websites that have been whipped up supposedly with every SEO trick in the book. And I saw a couple actually. They were 100% AI. They were just ChatGPT output. The language was terrible. The taking one small point and coming up with 7,000 ways of saying it was obvious. I had instant no trust at all. It's despicable. It's lazy. They did not get my business. And probably one of the things that did it, apart from the bad language, was when they look at their service area where they're promising, we serve all local Adelaide suburbs with more than 7 years. What does that mean? Serving all local Adelaide suburbs with more than 7 years. My goodness. Anyway, their map is basically the outline of the map of Australia. Adelaide CBD is where Darwin is. Norwood is where Alice Springs is. Plympton is where Geraldton would sit. Mile End is where Adelaide is. Modbury's Tasmania. Port Adelaide is Melbourne. Brighton is Sydney. Plympton is Brisbane. You've got to be absolutely joking. Some company, T. McLaders, whatever they are, have just sausage machined the crap out of a website that is an insult to humankind.
A simple heuristic, listener. You can probably tell from our podcast that we're kind of proud about how we do work. So anytime you look on the internet and you read a website, ask a simple question. Was the person who made that website proud of it? And is the company who had it made proud of it? And if you can't answer yes to both questions, move on.
One last thing, I don't want to be a nitpicker, but all the social icons, they don't work. Nothing works. It's horrible. I need to go and have a shower now. Let's just stop this segment.
You could just go and roll on the couch.
Our 4 Ps. Number 4, perspicacity. Let's examine a campaign from the past and ask, would it work today? As Oscar Wilde believed, our one duty to history is to rewrite it. So let's see what we can learn.
Finally, in Perspicacity, we look at something old, we see if that old ad would work today, and given we've done Angertainment and it's had a political sense, let's have a quick look, David, at a couple of Clive Palmer ads from about 2014, I think it was, 2013, making his earnest pitch to the electorate.
Australia's debt increases $3 billion each week, $30 billion in 10 weeks. The Australian government is the main petitioner of bankruptcies and company liquidations. Stop that. It makes Australians unemployed. Australian business pays over $70 billion quarterly in advance each year. Pay tax yearly, not quarterly. Free up $70 billion for jobs, demand and growth. A living wage for pensioners and veterans. We're talking about a revolution. Vote 1 Palmer United.
Authorised by Clive Palmer for the Palmer United Party, Burnie.
1st of July 2014, slash personal income tax by 15%. Give taxpayers $2,500 in pocket every year. When spent, GST replaces it. We're talking about a revolution. Vote Palmer United.
Authorised by Clive Palmer for the Palmer United Party, Brisbane.
David, these ads did not work then. Do you have any reason to expect they would work now?
No, I think they would fail for the same reasons now. They failed then, and that is he's talking to himself about what he would like. He's not solving the problem by talking to people at the level of their problem. It's that ultimate mistake of arrogance. If it's good for me, you'll clearly realise I'm amazing and you want to be like me. No, none of us think that way. We all want to know that your brilliant idea works at our level in our location for our experience. So it's quite amazing that someone with so much money couldn't even do a moderately competent ad.
It is surprising because his persona was shooting his mouth off, shooting from the hip with some outlandish stuff to stir up the crowds, but his ads were tame. And imagine a peak-nosed little person with a cardigan and those little glasses earnestly trying to do something in the background, completely at odds with his... So there's two things. You're dead right. He's making these promises and claims out of context of how the hell they help us. He's assuming we understand it. But then there's this disconnect between his persona and the content of the ads.
Yeah, it's not the Clive that you saw on the news or heard on the radio being interviewed. It's, who is this Clive? They stole Clive. Like, this is pre-AI. So it's not that they made AI Clive.
No. So, rounding this up, what would happen today? Do you think he would have a different approach? I mean, Pauline is the new Clive.
Well, Pauline was the old Clive too.
Yes, she was. Clive that just won't go away. So what would make an effective TV ad, do you think, for a politician in this day and age?
I think it's always been the same. Talk about the person who you want to vote for you. Talk about what they're going through, what your policy could do for them, and then expand outwards from the personal to, and it's economically safe, and it's good for the country as a whole. People want their own problem solved first. And then most people would also like to know that their problem could be solved in a way that's also good for other people, because we care about other people. But the idea of starting an ad with the big picture and Clive's perspective first, I suppose the one thing I'd say is today, you could still find a terrible ad agency to make those ads. And that's kind of sad, because there's so much data now about what does and doesn't work.
Last question. You say people still care about others. Does that take into account, does that factor in the toxicity that Angertainment points to, in which there are actors actively trying to poison that well and destroy our empathy nerves?
I actually think that's what is so terrible about the way social media has turned. The effort to make in-groups and out-groups us and them is because people so desperately do care about other people and want to be part of a group. Like, we are not solo entities. We are social beings. And that desire to fit and connect is being used so brutally and ruthlessly to try and go, you can connect to us, but you've got to be against them to connect to us. Like, that is the ultimate danger of the tool, is it is playing on one of our deepest emotional drivers.
Are we still friends?
Absolutely, because we have real conversations and don't get angry. We just entertain each other.
Oh, I'm holding up the little stick with a love heart on the top of it.
That's good. If we weren't sitting as far apart as we are, I'd come give you a big hug.
Thanks for listening to Talking About Marketing. If you found this helpful, please share it with someone who might benefit. And if you're so inclined, leave a rating in your podcast app. Both help more than you think. Steve and David welcome your thoughts, which you can send to podcast@talkedaboutmarketing.com. That's podcast@talkedaboutmarketing.com. Want to continue the conversation beyond the podcast? You can book 20 minutes with Steve at talkedaboutmarketing.com. No cost, no obligation. And we'll leave the last word to Oscar Wilde. There's only one thing worse than being talked about, and that's not being talked about.